morning, everybody. I'm Dominic, also known as Mama G's husband. Today I'm going to be making a spaghetti recipe that my family's been having for years. It's really good. I hope you enjoy it. I'll have a whole list of ingredients all at the end. I'm going to start by browning up some hamburger meat, and then I'm going to brown up some sausage. So as I said, I'm starting up by browning some hamburger meat. Not a whole lot, maybe like a pound or so. The key to this is because I like it to be nice and small pieces of meat so it'll kind of emulsify into the sauce. I normally just add a little bit of salt or pepper at this point just to kind of help the meat, submerge some flavor. And I don't put a whole lot in, mind you. I just give it a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of salt, maybe a little garlic salt. That's all that's really needed. Okay, now as I said before, all I'm doing is browning the meat. So all I'm gonna do is cook it to where the pink is all gone. It's light brown. And I'm gonna keep moving this around and keep kind of chopping it up because I want my hamburger in here to be nice and small pieces. I'm not trying to get big, heavy, hearty pieces out of this. I want it to be nice and small. That way everybody gets a bite, and so there's that flavor that gets throughout the sauce. Once it's done, once it's about to here where it's nice and brown, and I've got the pieces where I want them, I'll take this off the heat. I'll take the meat out, and I'll brown my sausage next. Now that I'm doing my sausage, these are a spicy Italian sausage. I prefer the hot sausage. Some people like the mild sausage or sweet sausage. It's all up to your taste. So go ahead and just brown these up. You want to make sure they're nice and cooked through, brown on all sides. Once you're done with that, take those off the heat as well. Now the idea here, once again, is just to brown them, okay? You want to cook them thoroughly. These are sausage, they are pork, so you don't want to eat it raw and don't want any raw bits to it. So just cook them. You don't want to cook them till they're dark black or burn them. Just gently cook them. If you need to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan, you can. But it's not a necessity because the hamburger and the sausage are both going to give you a little bit of oils coming out of them. And as long as you keep them on a low heat and don't burn them, you should be fine. So just go ahead and finish browning these, and when they're done, we'll move on to the... Okay. Now, once your sausages are good and browned all the way around, see they're not burnt, they just got a nice dark coating all the way around them, go ahead and pull them out, and then we'll move on to the next episode. Okay. Now we're at the point where we're going to start adding in some ingredients. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and brown our onions. The best thing to use is the sweet yellow onion. And you want to start off just with a nice pan that's nice and warm. It's got the oils in it from all the meats that you just used. And just go ahead and put your onions in. And now all you're going to do is simmer them. Go ahead and move them around. Don't want to burn them. You just want to simmer them around a little bit. Let them get all the flavor from the sausage and the hamburger. Let it get all into it. Just keep moving them around a little bit. You don't want to cook them too long like this by themselves. So once you're satisfied with where you're at, you're going to start adding your seasonings in. So I'm going to go and get my seasonings while this is doing this. It's on low, so it's just a simmer. Let it simmer in just a little bit. Get it moved around the pan so everything's nice and even, okay? All right. See you in a minute. Okay. So now my onions are nice and cooked, and, they're at the point where they're, not completely clear, but they're at the point where they're ready to have some other stuff into them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit here. And then I'm going to start adding in some seasonings. The one thing I love, the one thing every Italian loves, or should love, is garlic. Now I use a lot of minced garlic. So I keep it around in the jar. And what I usually do is I put about 2 tablespoons of garlic in. Now I might add later, because I'm going to be adding some garlic salt later, I might add a little bit more. But for now, that should be good. Then, I'm going to add about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit less, of some basil. Okay? So you can add that in, nice and easy. Everything you do with Italian cooking is usually to flavor. So you're not trying to make a big deal out of it, but you're not trying to short yourself either. So I get the Italian seasoning mix, and I'll do about a tablespoon of that, and then maybe half a tablespoon or so. Then I get some oregano, because, you know, you can't cook an Italian dish if you don't have oregano. That's kind of one of those things that, it's a policy, let's say. Now I'm going to do a tablespoon of oregano, and I can add some more later, don't worry. Okay, now that all that's put together, I'm going to go ahead and mix it a little bit. Mix it all in together. We're getting really close to the point where I'm going to start putting some tomato in here, and I'm going to be using crushed tomato today. So I'm just going to let this all kind of simmer together for a second here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in my crushed tomatoes. As you see, it's just a regular old can of crushed tomatoes. You add that together, and you let that simmer for a little minute, because I'm going to stir it up. And so I'm using 2 large cans and 1 small can. All just crushed tomatoes. Now I'm going to switch to a spoon rather than a straight edge spatula. And I'm just going to mix this in. Just nice and easy. Anytime you're cooking an Italian food dish, you want to move nice and slow with it. There is no time to rush. Once you get it all mixed in like that, just let it set for just a little bit. And get prepared for your next step. Now we're going to go ahead and give it a little stir. And then we're going to turn the temperature down, because what we were going to do now is we're just going to let it simmer. Okay, you don't want boiling, you don't want bubbling, you just want it to simmer. And you want to stir on a pretty consistent basis. Like every 3-4 minutes or so, just come over and give it a stir. Just until you're ready to put it on low and let it just kind of slow cook for a while. Okay, we're back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 small cans of tomato paste, okay? And all this does is eventually help thicken everything up a little bit, make it a little more hearty. This is a recipe that my mother gave to me, and her spaghetti is always just so good. Now, one of the things you want to do when you're doing this is, since the tomato paste is rather thick, because like it is a tomato paste, you're going to want to fill 1 can of tomato paste, 1 can of water. So you're going to use these small cans to add water to the sauce, because you want it to thicken up a bit, but you don't want it to be too thick. And this is going to make just such an amazing difference in your pasta sauce. So I'm going to add this in, stir it in, and then we'll move on to the next episode where I'm going to be dropping some water in. Okay, so now we got the tomato paste all, mixed in. And like I said before, you're gonna use 1 can of potato paste and 1 can of water together. So here comes the water. And as I said, we had put 2 cans in, so here's that 2nd can of water. Now with both of those in, just give it a nice stir. Now, my mom loves Parmesan cheese, as do I. It just makes every kind of Italian meal taste so much better. A lot of people put it on top of everything they eat, whether it be a salad, pasta, lasagna, spaghetti, it doesn't make a difference. They put it on it. But here's the trick my mom likes to do. She also puts it in it. And when I say she's a fiend about it, I mean she really likes it. So I get myself a big jar of Parmesan cheese, and I'll put about half that jar into my mixture. And then I'll go ahead and stir it in. And believe me, it makes a difference. So you want to get that all stirred in real nice. Let all these flavors work together, because after all, that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to take this, all these different ingredients, and make them into one solid, yummy, yummy spaghetti sauce. So, now, for right now, the sauce is basically done. We've put all of our ingredients in it, and now all we have to do is reintroduce the sausage and the hamburger that we browned earlier. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna drop the sausage in. I'm not even gonna cut these up because they're basically like individual size. So if you want a sausage, you can have a sausage and you'll know it because it'll look like a little miniature sausage. So I just drop them in. You don't have to put them all sporadic, but then you drop the hamburger meat in. And as we did before with all the other ingredients, we're gonna go ahead and just stir them in. Stir them in, get them all mixed in together. You don't want anything to stand out. You don't want anything to feel like it's bigger or better than the next thing. You want all those flavors to combine. That way, with every taste that you have, you're like, oh, it'll just keep you eating. It'll give you that point where you get to the itis. And for those of you who don't know what the itis is when you got that fork full of what you're about to eat, and you're asking yourself, should I eat this? And you take that big old deep breath and you eat it. And then you lean back and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. That's the itis. So, everything's reintroduced. Everything's in the pot. Everything is cooking nice and slow, right? That's perfect. You want this on a nice low heat, low temperature. And this just would not be a proper Italian dish. It definitely wouldn't be spaghetti if it didn't have bay leaves. Okay, now you don't want to eat your bay leaves because, bay leaves you don't eat. But I'll put a few bay leaves in here. And then I'll mix them in. Bay leaves give off such an amazing aroma when they're cooking. They are so good. They add so much flavor. But I know my mama always told me, don't eat the bay leaves. I don't know if you can or if you can't, but I know that I have never. Could be superstition, could be something more, I don't know. But there you go. There's the pasta sauce. Thank you for watching. And at the end of this, we'll show you what it's like, what it tastes like.